Hello and welcome, everybody, to Saul Goodman Park on the campus of Tufts University in Medford, Massachusetts. And this is something that I can't say too often, but good morning here. It is 11 a.m. or shortly before that time, and we're playing some morning baseball here in Medford. Game number 3 of the NESCAC quarterfinals about to get underway. Tufts University and Amherst currently locked in a 1-1 tie. The winner of this 9-inning contest will be the team that gets sent to Waterville, Maine, and participate in the NESCAC Championship weekend. Hello, everybody, and welcome to coverage of NESCAC baseball presented to you by JumboCast. My name is Andrew Howe. We'll be guiding you along the way. We'd like to extend a warm welcome from us and the rest of our JumboCast crew, Niles Lowe, Justin Locaire, and Riley Daniel. The Jumbos and the Mammoths played in a 9-inning doubleheader yesterday, and a very back-and-forth contest both of those were. Both of the losing teams in each contest got off to an early lead and was followed by a big comeback by the other. For Amherst, it was a six-run first inning, I should say, which was followed by 12 consecutive jumbo runs, and kind of a reverse in history for game number 2, where Tufts got off on the scoring with a 3-run homer by Connor Flavin in the 5th, followed immediately after by 8 runs by the Mammoths. And so both teams have proven that their offense is certainly capable, and we'll see if that becomes a factor today. With that, we'll be stepping aside, and honoring America with the playing of our national anthem.
I've done this before. I've done this before.
And as we mentioned before, yesterday, would like to reiterate before the beginning of this game, a lot of history between these two programs, especially dating back to over the last couple of years. Where in the 2021 NESCAC championship game, that COVID-shortened season, it was these two squads that ended up facing off here in Medford. Of course, the previously named Huskins Field is where these teams played, as we have now renovated our facilities here at Tufts. But it was a 2-0 win for the away team, the visiting Mammoths, who ended up being the champions of that year's conference. And of course, these teams have battled back and forth throughout history and also throughout this season, where earlier this year it was the Jumbos taking 2 out of 3 in Amherst. And so currently that record standing at 3-2 in favor of the Jumbos, entering what will be the 6th game between these two teams. The Jumbos are taken to the field. We can take a look right now at the starting lineups for Amherst, who will be hitting first as the visiting team, as well as the defensive alignment here for Tufts. For Amherst, a situation very similar to what it has been for the duration of this series. It'll be San Pedro, who had an incredible 2 games leading off, followed by McDermott, McIntyre, Luke Padian, Jack Dove, Jackson Raydell, Christian Fagnan entering the rotation again behind the plate, and then it'll be Irizarry batting 8th, and Boyle rounding it out in the 9 hole. And we can take a look at the defensive alignment for the Jumbos. Importantly, out in the outfield, Henry Fleckner remaining in for game number 3. You can recall perhaps that rather frightening incident where he collided pretty hard into the wall, ended up finishing the game, and will be in the lineup today. And he is going to be flanked by Leonard and Evans out in the outfield. Solomon, Fleischer, McCullough, and Flavin round out the infield, and it'll be Connor Bowman for the 3rd straight game, catching Connor Pedeswa, our newest member of the starting rotation for this series. It is a big game for Connor Pedeswa, the sophomore out of Waterford, Connecticut. Could perhaps have the biggest start of his career here today. Of course, had a great season last year in his freshman campaign, 5-1 over 9 appearances and 5 starts, 34 strikeouts and 39 innings pitched, and this year a lot of the same. That 1-to-1 strikeout to innings pitched ratio remaining nearly identical with 40 Ks and 40.1 innings pitched. The ERA is up by a little bit, but overall, what we can tell from Pedeswa is he's been able to work through innings, and that is something that the Jumbos will need desperately today, especially considering a lot of their big relievers, including Aiden Tucker, were utilized to a pretty large degree yesterday. It's a beautiful day, once again, just stellar weather for baseball, despite it being a little bit earlier in the morning. Jack San Pedro, the leadoff hitter for the Mammoths, will step into the dish. The designated hitter is having a fantastic season and a fantastic series, eclipsing that 400 mark in batting average. The first pitch is inside, and we are underway. San Pedro led off both games yesterday with a single. The single in the first game leading to a cascade of 9 Amherst batters collecting 6 runs. 3-0. San Pedro 4 for 5 with a hit by pitch in game number 1, followed by another outing where he went, I believe, 2 for 5 as Pedeswa works the count back to full. Amherst's offense, one of the most powerful in the NESCAC, as San Pedro grounds that one to third. Solomon makes a strong throw, and a nice stretch by Flavin collects the first out of the game. Entering this weekend, as we mentioned earlier on in this series, Amherst ranks top of the league in batting average and on-base percentage, third in slugging, and they have proved to be able to turn on the gas 1 through 9 in their order. McDermott takes the ball outside. Jack McDermott, one of 4 Amherst hitters that have an OPS over 1,000 and might drop a little bit here as McCullough collects the easy ground out for out number 2. And perhaps obviously, all 4 of the Amherst hitters who have that OPS over 1,000 are the top 4 hitters in their lineup, and another one stepping to the box right now in Ryan McIntyre. McIntyre entered the series hitting .390 and has now broken 400 after another exceptional weekend, or at least doubleheader over on Saturday. Soft ground ball, going to be a tough play. Pedeswa collects it barehanded, fires to first, and they got him. So a 1-2-3 inning as Connor Pedeswa issues 3 weak grounders. And that will set the tone for the remainder of this game. We can see the Jumbo defense working on all cylinders, and we'll see if Amherst can fire back. Nevels is on the bump the first year, and we'll be back with his performance after this. As we head into the bottom of the first inning, let's take a look at the starting lineup for the Jumbos, the order in which they will send their bats. Some slight deviations from the first 2 games. Henry Fleckner, McCullough will be your 1-2 as we saw in the last 2. But Jimmy Evans now moving back up into the number 3 hole. So that is a situation where Evans was dropped down to 4 and now moved back up to 3. Bowman going to be the one cleaning up today. Ben Leonard also getting a bump up to the 5th spot in the rotation, and followed by Connor Davidson, who is playing his first game, and then Solomon, Fleischer, and Flavin. Take a look at the defensive alignment for the Mammoths. The full Jack outfield, as we were talking about yesterday, Dove, Boyle, and Raydell. Irizarry, McIntyre, McDermott, and Padian left to right in the infield, and Christian Fagnan catching E.J. Nevels. This is Nevels' 10th game of his freshman campaign. Has put up a 7 ERA. Amherst, a team with 2 very, very solid starting pitchers, and a bunch of long relievers who can give you length, but perhaps not necessarily always the one to get the call to start. So we'll see how Nevels adjusts as Fleckner steps into the box. .26 in the 3rd innings pitched, and has a lot of 24s. Has given 24 strikeouts. Fleckner takes the ball outside. Henry Fleckner had an incredible last 2 games. I believe 5 base hits in total across both contests. That was 4 singles and 1 double in the 3rd inning of game 2. 2-1 is the count. And the pitch. Swung on, grounded to 3rd. Javier Irizarry makes a strong throw. It's scooped by Padian, and that'll be the first out. So just like what San Pedro did to lead off their half of the inning, Fleckner grounds out to 3rd base. This is the first game where both sides have failed to get a base runner on to lead off the game. Here's Jesse McCullough. The freshman had a very strong game number 1. 2 for 3 with 2 walks. McCullough also recorded a single in game 2. Foul tip into the glove of Fagnan, and it's quickly 0-2. McCullough, a true breakout star for this Jumbo team, coming into the starting lineup about halfway through the season and has been on fire. But he will get rung up there on a ball to the outside corner. Nevels collects his first K, and there are 2 down. And in a game where the starting pitching are both coaching staffs, I should say, are sending out their 3rd options for starting pitching, looking quickly like it might be one of the better pitched games here of this series. Jimmy Evans takes a ball on the outside corner. The lefty was hitting cleanup in game 1 and 2. Hit a 3-run shot in the 1st inning of game 1. As he hits a high fly ball into shallow left field. Dove settles under it and makes the play. Took a couple steps in adjustment due to some of the wind that is here at Gittleman Park, and that'll be the end of the 1st inning. Both pitchers have faced the minimum through the 1st inning of play, as we have a lot of baseball still left to go. We're scoreless after 1 here on JumboCast. Back here in the top of the 2nd inning, Connor Pedeswa issued a 1-2-3 first frame. 3 groundouts, 1 to Solomon, 1 to McCullough, and 1 right back to himself. And will now have to face the 4, 5, 6 batters of the Amherst Mammoths lineup. Here's Luke Padian. The lefty struggled throughout the doubleheader against Tufts. And that is something that we do not take lightly, because this is a hitter, one of the best ones in the entire NESCAC conference. Padian leads his team in RBIs, had 48 entering the contest yesterday. 563 slugging alongside a 387 average. As he pops that one up, going to be down the left field line and out of play. Payton is one of the few mammoth players that are playing both here in this series against Tufts and also the NESCAC Championship back in 2021. Padezwa issues a ball low, and the count goes to 2-2. Padezwa deals. Grounded to second. Jesse McCullough makes the play. One down. So 4 grounders in a row for Connor Padezwa. As that pitch is lined straight to Solomon. Strongest piece of hitting so far this game done by Jack Dove. But Solomon was there, the right place, right time. 2 gone. If the Jumbos can get some length out of Padezwa, they would be incredibly satisfied with that outlook. Considering bullpen options, Brendan McFall played in game number 2. Of course, being responsible for the loss, I believe, after giving up the lead due to a couple of misplays by the Jumbo defense. But McFall is, of course, a player that has had a lot of length in the past as a starter, and so would not be surprised to see him back up and ready to go for game 3 if necessary. Matt Donato, Justin Wells, some other options here for Tufts. The 2-1. 2-2. Padezwa really dealing right now. Jackson Raydell, the right fielder, has really turned it up over these last couple of games as he looks to fill the count with 2 gone. Three balls, 2 strikes, 2 away here in the top of the second. The pitch is fouled back. Still no hits or nor base runners recorded so far today. The payoff. Got him looking on the breaking ball. Padezwa has faced the minimum through 2. We'll be right back. EJ Nevels has stepped back onto the mound, had a very effective first inning, issuing a flyout, a strikeout, and a groundout. Jumbos will send their 4, 5, and 6 batters: Connor Bowman, Ben Leonard, and Connor Davidson. Nevels issues the ball outside. Bowman was hitting third in yesterday's 2 contests and has been slid back to the cleanup spot. Soft ground ball down the right field line, and will go foul. Bowman really has turned things up offensively over these last couple of weeks in NESCAC play, which has sent him up in the batting order. Swing and a miss, strike 2. We'll see what the strategy is on the pitching end for Amherst. Neville's can give you some length, but I would expect some other key bullpen pieces to be utilized early in this game. Tristan Kim, the freshman, won NESCAC Pitcher of the Week a little bit earlier on in this season. Was not used yesterday. The 2-2. Drilled foul. You'd wonder as well if Alan Day is available after being used yesterday to collect the save. Do not throw too many pitches. The 2-2 is just inside as the count goes full. Here's the payoff. Grounded softly, going to be a tough play. Nice scoop by Nevels, but he slips on the turf. That's an infield single for Bowman to lead off the second. On the turf, the bounce off of a ball hits straight into the ground. Certainly plays a factor. We saw that yesterday as a ball ate up Irizarry at third base. Neville's struggling to collect that one as, of course, being on that mound, a little bit of an uneven playing field to set your feet. And the Jumbos have the first base runner of the game. Ben Leonard grounds one foul. Leonard really was searching for some offensive feel entering yesterday's series and found it for sure with a single and a run scored as well as a walk in game 2. Here's the 0-1, and it hits him on the foot. So Neville's unable to complete a difficult ground ball play and then hits Ben Leonard as the Jumbos have 2 base runners on with nobody out and the designated hitter, Connor Davidson, coming to the plate. You can hear some loud cheers as there's a lot of different Jumbo athletics happening here today. The men's lacrosse NESCAC championship is happening, and the Middlebury Panthers have their team walking past us here at Gittleman, and they are amped up for their game that starts at 12 noon today. Should be a good contest between 2 teams that are, probably 2 of the best teams in the country in Division III lacrosse. You can tune into that one on NSN. Davidson did not play over the last 2 games yesterday. It was Connor Bralla that got the starts. And Bralla was effective, had a single and hit and a walk as the Amherst infield corners are in, potentially expecting a sacrifice bunt. Wave and a miss for strike number 1. Padian and Irizarry are on the grass, while the middle infielders are in that double play depth. Nevels checks the runner at second and deals. Outside, ball 1.
You're right there, kid.
Davidson hitting .215 with a .698 OPS. Has power in that bat, although struggles to make contact at times. The 1-1 is inside. Davidson's first at-bat of the season was a home run. So a good way to open things up. And now here in what could be the Jumbo's last game of the season if they don't pull out a win. 2 balls, 1 strike. Nevels deals, and that pitch is lined foul. Davidson played in tough series against Amherst earlier this season, but after that has not been given too many opportunities. That the DH role here for the Jumbos is sort of a platoon situation. The 2-2 pitch. Swung on in line, straight to the shortstop. They'll make the play into second. Bowman will be safe. So, a nice play there by McIntyre to get the line drive. And the throw over to McDermott was just barely not in time. Good base running awareness by Bowman to realize that even though it was a line drive, it could be caught for an out and to stay put and get back to second base safely. Here's Pat Solomon. And first pitch is down for a ball. That breaking ball ended up dropping out of the zone, and Solomon did not bite. Bowman on second, Leonard on first, the 1-0 pitch with one away in the bottom of the second. Swung on and grounded to third. Irizarry over to McDermott. The throw to first is not in time, so they get the force at second as a fielder's choice for Patrick Solomon. Bowman advances to third as Leonard will go back to the dugout. First and third, 2 away. And there's now a base hit would score a run with one of the best contact bats in the jumbo lineup, Ozzie Fleischer at the plate. Downstairs, ball 1. Fleischer had a couple of walks and a run scored in game 2 yesterday. They check Solomon at first, who is a very good base runner. Of course, these jumbos second in the NESCAC in steals. We'll see what they do here on first and third. That pitch is lined into right field. Going to be a tough play, and it's going to fall for a base hit. 1 run will score. Solomon's rounding third. They hold him there as Fleischer reaches second. It's an RBI double for the jumbo shortstop as Tufts strikes first in the bottom of the second frame. They lead 1-0. Great play, great piece of hitting to the opposite field by Ozzie Fleischer. That's what he does best, getting bat on ball, making the best out of what could be very competitive pitches. As Nevels now has to work himself out of a jam with Connor Flavin coming to the plate. Flavin led things off in scoring for the Jumbos in game 2 with a towering 3-run blast over the right field fence. Of course, the curse of yesterday was whichever team scored first ended up losing the game, as the Mammoths responded to Flavin's home run with 8 scores of their own. Flavin provides an interesting scenario here for the Jumbos, as he's a great way to flip the order around as a power bat before the top of the lineup. Two balls, no strikes, 2 away. The pitch from Nevels. Upstairs, 3-0. And it's understandable to want to be careful in your pitch selection around Connor Flavin, who homered yesterday, but you have to remember that since he's a 9-hitter, it's Henry Fleckner, the leadoff man, coming to the plate if they are not able to retire Flavin. Three and 1 is the count. The Jumbos got things off scoring-wise with a double from Fleischer. The pitch swung on and fouled back as the count goes full. A loud thud as perhaps a car was damaged off of that foul ball. The net not high enough to support that one. Here's the payoff. Swing and a miss, got him. Nevels escapes the second with only 1 run allowed. But the Jumbos get things off scoring-wise off of an RBI double from Ozzie Fleischer. The Jumbos lead 1-0 in a do-or-die NESCAC quarterfinal game. Welcome back to Saul Goodman Park. The Jumbos of Tufts University strike first here in the bottom of the second inning, but Nevels was able to work himself out of a bit of a jam, which is certainly a welcome sight out of a freshman pitcher. Connor Pedeswa has the 7, 8, 9 batters for Amherst lined up for him as Feng Yan takes a ball downstairs. Javier Irizarry followed by Jack Boyle will be the ones due up for the Mammoths. Soft ground ball to first. Flavin will toss to Pedeswa, who gets there in time, and there's one down. Weak contact has been the name of the game so far for Connor Pedeswa. Apart from that line drive to Patrick Solomon, which he caught relatively easily and was not necessarily the hardest exit velo of a line drive that we've seen here this weekend. It's been all ground balls and some strikeouts. Hanging breaking ball enters the zone right as it crosses the plate, according to the home plate umpire, and the count goes to 1-1. Javier Irizarry entered yesterday with a 715 OPS as he lines that one into right center field. That's going to be a base hit. Fleckner is unable to retrieve it cleanly, and that will allow Irizarry to advance to second. So Fleckner had a running opportunity to snag the ball backhanded as it rolled close to the fence and barely missed out on it. Was not able to get the glove all the way down, and Irizarry, being a very aware base runner, was able to stretch that out to a double. I would imagine they would just simply rule that as a double, as that would have been a very difficult play for Fleckner to cut things off, as it was hit in a very good spot. Boyle check swing, ground ball to short. They'll try to make the out at third. The tag by Solomon is in time, and there's two down. An intelligent play by Ozzie Fleischer. Ball hit to the left side of the infield, and they decide to send Irizarry on the play. A nice tag by Pat Solomon as well. Gets the lead runner out. A fielder's choice. 6-5 is the call, as Boyle will reach safely off of the play. Jack San Pedro up for the second time today. Runner goes. Bowman fires to second. The throw is a bit off, as McCullough was not able to get the tag down in time, and a good jump by Jack Boyle to record a stolen base. You have to be confident to try and run against Connor Bowman. Has nearly as many caught stealing as batters successful against him. That's a very good percentage. The 0-1 to San Pedro is swung on and lined into left field for a base hit. Boyle's going to round third. He will score easily as Leonard will fire to second base. It's an RBI single for Jack San Pedro, and the Amherst Mammoths have evened up this game at 1. So after a very dominant performance from both Podeswa and Neville's to start off this game, the bats have started to come alive for both both Tufts and Amherst. San Pedro continuing his excellent series here in Medford. McDermott takes the ball low. San Pedro has been known to be active on the base paths, and we'll see what Amherst decides to do with 2 away. Ground ball to McCullough. Fields it cleanly, fires to first, and that'll be the end of the frame. But an RBI single by the Amherst leadoff man, Jack San Pedro, evens this game right back up. The Mammoths able to quickly respond to the Jumbo's opening score. We'll be right back with the bottom of the third. Both teams have recorded 1 run on 2 hits as we enter the bottom of the third inning. The Tufts Jumbos will have the top of their batting order. It'll be Fleckner, McCullough, and Evans, as E.J. Nevels will return for his 3rd inning of work. Despite allowing that RBI double to Fleischer, Nevels has been very efficient on the pitch count so far. 24 bullets thrown. Podeswa has been even more efficient. 26 pitches through 3 innings. Fleckner takes the ball upstairs. Now, once again, with this being the 3rd game in 2 days for these teams, being able to get length out of your starting pitching is even more imperative than it was yesterday. Nevels issues a ball just low. Fleckner grounded to third base his last time up. Here's the 2-0. And for Podeswa, that's an average of 9 pitches per inning. Continuing on that pace, Podeswa has the ability to go for some length, would be really beneficial for the Jumbos, as that's a 4-pitch walk for Fleckner to open up the 3rd. So the Jumbos have a leadoff base runner looking to regain their lead as Jesse McCullough steps to the plate. And that ball gets past Fagnan. Advancing to second is Fleckner. You saw McCullough kind of slam his hand against his bat in frustration. To me, that implied the fact that the pitch may have hit his bat. However, that is not the call that was made, and of course the umpire has a better angle than I do here in the broadcast booth. So I believe a wild pitch and an advancement off of that for Fleckner, as the Jumbos now have a man on scoring position. The 1-0. In the dirt, 2-0. A gracious cloud has blocked some of the sun out here for us, as Fagnon and the rest and the Amherst coaching staff are going to have a bit of a talk with Nevels. The freshman has issued 6 straight balls to open up the third. So count remains at 2-0. And we'll see if situational hitting occurs here, because advancing Fleckner to third will be very big, even with an out being recorded with Evans coming to the plate. Ball just low. The strike zone was a topic of conversation yesterday across both teams, as many argued that those pitches low in the zone were inconsistent by the umpiring staff. Here's a 3-0. McCullough was looking the whole way and takes his first strike of the at-bat. Fleckner leads off of second. The pitch is down low, and McCullough works the second walk of this jumbo half of the inning. And an interesting situation now with Evans coming to the plate. We were discussing the opportunity for some situational hitting. Evans is somebody who can get that ball into the air, into the outfield. Has a lot of power in that left-handed bat, and so now a different situation arising now with Fleckner standing on second instead of third. Of course, can't blame McCullough. He wasn't given too much to hit. Evans takes the 9th ball of this inning as Nevels is searching for the strike zone. The 1-0. In there for a strike. You hope for Devils that instills some confidence, as that breaking ball into the zone will make it a 1-1 count. Here's the 1-1. Swing and a miss. Big cut by Evans as he was looking to take that ball far. Both benches on the edge of the seat of their seats in the dugout. Both sides very fervent in their cheering on of their teammates. The 1-2 in the dirt. It gets past Fagnon. Both runners are going to advance. A nice slide to prevent anything else from happening, as now runners go to second and third and reopen the possibility of a sacrifice fly for Evans. That is the second wild pitch of the inning for Nevels. Again, with this being the NESCAC quarterfinals, one of these teams likely will be playing their last game of the season, as that pitch is fouled back to keep the count alive. There, of course, always is the opportunity for at-large bids into the NCAA tournament, but losing here in the quarterfinals, despite the Jumbos currently being ranked 23rd in the Division III baseball poll, would make a tough case for them. Here's the 2-2, just on the outside corner. Nevels wanted that, believe that spot was exactly where that pitch was intended, but now the count goes full. The umpiring crew has been consistent across both teams. Here's the payoff. In the dirt, and that's another walk. So the third straight base on balls for E.J. Nevels as Amherst loads the bases for their cleanup man, Connor Bowman. And we'll see as Nevels really struggling here what Amherst decides to do. I mean, Nevels had a very strong first inning and looked good in the outs that he was able to record in the second, apart from that hard-hit contact by Ozzie Fleischer. Bowman takes strike one. The catcher singled to lead off the second and is the only Jumbo player to score here in Game 3. Of course, you recall that was a weakly hit infield single. Grounded foul, 0-2. So now Neville's in a good spot despite the bases being loaded to retire Bowman. Corners in for the Mammoths, and a big swing and a miss. The breaking ball dropping out of the zone, and Bowman took the bait. There's one down. A tough spot for E.J. Nevels, and he had a great response against the Jumbo's cleanup hitter. Here's the left fielder, Ben Leonard, was hit by a pitch his last time up. Padian and Arizari remain in. Looks like the play will be home if the ball is hit to the corners. Double play depth here in the middle. Ball, nice block there by Fagnan to prevent Fleckner, a very speedy runner, from coming home. So after a 3-pitch strikeout to Bowman, Neville's once again behind in the count. The pitch to Leonard. Outside, 3-0. And now for Amherst, you got nowhere to put Leonard. A walk would score a run as Fleckner would be forced home. And there it is. A 4-pitch walk after a 3-pitch strikeout for E.J. Nevels. That will score Henry Fleckner. It's an RBI for the Jumbo left fielder as they lead 2-1. And that might be it for Nevels. Coach J.P. Pine in his 5th season was perhaps hoping for a little bit more out of their Game 3 starter, but of course thrust into a situation where he is not entirely familiar with. First opportunity in NESCAC tournament play, and showed some flashes of really good stuff here in Game 3. And he'll be around for years to come as the Mammoths have a decently young lineup top to bottom. The Mammoths will send out number 25, Tristan Kim, the freshman out of Los Altos Hills, California. We'll be right back. So after 2 1/3 innings by the freshman pitcher E.J. Nevels, the Amherst Mammoths will turn to another first year, their pitcher Tristan Kim. Neville's, of course, still responsible for all 3 runners on base for the Jumbos. This is Kim's 11th game of his collegiate career. Started 2 of them and has a 4.35 ERA and 17 strikeouts over 31 innings pitched. Had a game where he was NESCAC Pitcher of the Week, where, while not starting the game, came in for the second, and a very similar situation, actually, to what we see today. 8 innings of relief, which gave him that award for the week. Kim, good at eliciting weak contact from opposing bats, and we'll see if that plays a factor here with the bases loaded. A double play ball would end the inning as Davidson takes ball 1.
Hey, 2-5, come on, kid. Get him out of here.
Kim fires a strike, and Davidson swings and misses. McCullough is at McCullough is at third. Has some speed, would likely be able to tag up on a fly ball. A very speedy trio of jumbo base runners. The 1-1. Grounded foul. Kim, unlike some of the other pitchers that we've seen throughout this weekend, attacking some of the higher areas of the batter's box. Here's the 1-2. Swing and a miss, got him on the outside. A nasty breaking ball will strike out Connor Davidson, and there's 2 gone. Would be a big spot for Amherst to escape this 3rd inning, only giving up 1 run. And now they can send the corner infielders back, as any out would end the inning. Solomon fouls one back into the chest plate of the home plate umpire. Solomon grounded into a fielder's choice, which got Leonard out at second base. The 0-1. Another nice block by Fagnan, who's had some work to do throughout this game, as a lot of those pitches end up having to be blocked. The righty Kim sets and deals. High fly ball, center field. Should be a good play for Boyle, who settles under it and makes the play. A big inning for Tristan Kim, coming into relief with the bases loaded and escaping with 2 consecutive putouts. Jumbos getting a run off of 4 walks issued, as they will take the lead once again early on in this game. It's 2-1. We'll be right back here on JumboCast. Welcome back to JumboCast coverage of NESCAC tournament play. The Jumbos of Tufts University and the Amherst College of Mammoth are currently locked in a 1-1 best-of-3 series. Score 2-1 Jumbos here in this decisive Game 3. Ground ball to short on the first pitch, and Fleischer makes the play as McIntyre goes down. Another quick at bat for the jumbo pitcher Pedeswa. He has 28 pitches now on what is going to be his 13th Amherst batter. Padian takes a strike. And for Amherst, the challenge now is not just to put some runs on the board, but work some counts and get Pedeswa out of this game. Breaking ball down low for ball 3. Padian hit a soft ground ball to McCullough his last time up. And we'll take a 5-pitch walk to lead things off offensively for the Mammoths. That is the first walk of the game issued by Pedeswa. Jack Dove comes to the plate. The righty hit a line drive to Pat Solomon at third base his last time up. Padian has 1 steal on the season. Would not expect him to go here against Bowman. Takes that pitch on the inside for a strike as the count goes to 1-2. Check swing did not go. Nice block by Bowman as that pitch went into the dirt. Two balls, 2 strikes. The pitch from Pedeswa is grounded foul. And despite the first 4 batters of the Amherst lineup having the best statistics, this part of Amherst's order also can do some damage as Dove swings and misses for the second out. Here's Rydell, struck out his last time up as they check Padian at first base. Again, not really much of a threat on the base paths, but always good to check the runner when possible. Fly ball, shallow left field, going to be a tough play. Coming on is Leonard. He makes a running play. A nice catch and good communication for Fleckner to get out of the way to make sure that Leonard can end the inning. So despite a walk issued to Padian, Pedeswa did not allow a hit in that 4th frame. We will go to the bottom of the half of the inning with the Jumbos looking to add some insurance runs. We'll be right back. Welcome back from JumboCast here at Saul Goodman Park in Medford, Massachusetts. Despite both of these teams being from opposing conference halves of the conference, with Tufts playing their games in the NESCAC East and Amherst playing in the NESCAC West, the distance between the two squads is not nearly as far as some of the other teams that are facing off this weekend. And I'm sure that is a welcome sign for the players from Amherst, who after this game will have to drive, that short distance back to Western Massachusetts to finish off their final exams. Fleischer takes strike 2. Kim remains on the mound after getting the last 2 batters of the previous inning. And that hits Fleischer on the back, as they will lead this inning off with a hit by pitch. You look around the rest of the NESCAC, it was, of course, Hamilton at Colby, Bowdoin at Wesleyan, and Trinity at Middlebury. That last one, a big drive for the Bantams, who had to go all the way from Connecticut to Vermont. The last game of that doubleheader, which Middlebury took and to win the series 2-0, a 13-12 win. Of course, did not get the chance to watch that one, but must have been a wild back and forth contest. Runner goes. That's a strike. The throw to second is off as a stolen base is recorded for Ozzie Fleischer. You saw Flavin show bunt and pull away just to try and buy as much time and potential distraction for Fagnan, and it potentially had paid off there as Fleischer was safe due to an errant throw. Two and two. Flavin struck out in a big spot back in the second inning. Jumbo's had momentum with the bases loaded, or with runners on second and third, with 2 away, and a big strikeout sent them with only 1 run. Another pass ball here as Fleischer will advance to third. Kim signaling to Fagnan, yeah, that was my bad, as now another run for the Jumbos is just 90 feet away. Flavin has some power, can send balls far if he's able to make contact. And Fleischer would likely be able to tag in a multitude of situations. The 2-2 is swung on and grounded to short. Fleischer stays put as the play is made by McIntyre. There's 1 down. So unlike the situation we saw earlier on the Amherst side, where the runner on second was sent on a ground ball hit to shortstop, Fleischer does not go, albeit the situation is slightly different with him being on third instead of second. Amherst has the infield in. They will make the play home if given the opportunity, and Fleischer goes. And a bunt actually shown, a safety squeeze situation, and a nice read by Fagnan to make sure that he collects the ball in foul territory. Fleckner is 0 for 1 with a walk. Scored the second run of the game for Tufts on, of course, that single, or that double from Fleischer. Or I apologize, the walk from Ben Leonard. Infield still in. Fleckner has some speed. We'll see if he continues to show bunt. He's swinging. And a ground ball through for a base hit. Fleischer scores easily as the infield coming in will not pay Amherst dividends. It's an RBI single for Henry Fleckner as the Jumbo lead goes to 2. It's a gamble you take while sending your infielders in. McDermott had that ball rocketed to his left side. Made a diving attempt, but of course was not given enough time to make that play. So an RBI single for Fleckner as he reaches base for the second straight time. And we go back to yesterday's two games as well, and you really start to see Fleckner has put together a phenomenal series. That is his 6th hit and the 8th time that he's reached base across these 3 games. And they will be very cautious of Fleckner on the base paths as, of course, entering the game yesterday, 22 stolen bases. And again, with only 1 out, having the opportunity to move runners over with the contact bat of McCullough could definitely be valued if Fleckner can advance. The 1-0, runner goes, swing, and a high pop-up into foul territory. So the hit and run was on for Coach Fagdis and the Jumbo's crew, but McCullough was not able to get the ball down and will send Fleckner back to first base. Jimmy Evans is on deck. We'll see if they have the sign on again for a hit and run. Fleckner will stay put, and that pitch is in there for strike 2. Infield in double play depth, Padian holding on Fleckner at first. And they'll check him again. An ice cream truck has rolled into the parking lot of Gittleman Park. The 1-2, upstairs. You'd imagine there's some hungry fans as this game eclipsing the period where people traditionally eat lunch. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 away. Kim deals, runner goes again, pitches outside. The throw from Fagnan is off target. And a stolen base from the speedy Henry Fleckner will put a runner in scoring position as the count goes full. So another nice jump. There was no hit and run on, so McCullough was able to see that pitch for a ball. Now a base hit would score Fleckner from second. Kim deals. Swing and a miss. They got him. A big strikeout for Kim gives the Mammoths 2 outs. And here comes Jimmy Evans with 2 away and a runner on second. Evans 0 for 1 with a walk. Here's the pitch. It's blocked partially by Fagnan, but got away from him enough for Fleckner to advance to third. And this sometimes is a bit of a consequence or a side effect of trying to attack the low parts of the zone, which has been the game plan for both Tufts and Amherst this weekend. Runner on third. High drive, center field. Going back is Boyle. He still is not able to make the play as the ball goes to the wall. 1 run scores easily. Evans will stop at second. He's got himself an RBI double as the Jumbos strike for the 3rd straight inning. They lead 4-1. A big hit by Jimmy Evans. Off the bat, looked like it could have had the potential to leave the yard. Boyle had a nice read on it, but was unable to get to it in time. And another big hit from one of the strongest bats in the Jumbo lineup. Here's Bowman.
Come on, 2-5, let's go, kid.
The 1-0. Grounded to second. McDermott will make the play, and that'll end the frame. But 2 runs come through. One off the single from Fleckner, one off the double from Jimmy Evans. The Jumbos have a firm control over this game, and they have Connor Pedeswa coming back to the mound. We'll see how Amherst can battle back with their season on the line. We'll be right back with NESCAC Baseball, brought to you by JumboCast. Four innings of play eclipsed here as we have just crossed into the afternoon in Medford, Massachusetts. The Tufts Jumbos with a 4-1 lead over the Amherst Mammoths in this decisive Game 3 of the NESCAC quarterfinals. It'll be the bottom third of the Amherst lineup. Christian Fagnan grounded to first his last time up. Had a big grand slam in the first inning of Game 1. And a big cut there for strike 2. And that's a strike on the outside corner. Fagnan caught looking as the Jumbo siren blares. 1 down to open up the 5th. And Pedeswa is truly dealing. He has 43 pitches thrown entering the 5th inning. Irizarry takes a strike. Had a double but was stopped on the fielder's choice his last time up. Ball in the dirt. The magic number for Pedeswa, I think coming into this game, was likely around 6. Where if you can get him through 6 innings, and the Jumbos are in a good position, you can go McFall for 2 and potentially Tucker for 1 if he still has any power left in his arm. Strike will fill up the count. But now with Pedeswa on such a roll, you have to wonder if those plans shift with the Jumbos having a 3-run lead. Ball just around the knees was called for ball 4 as Irizarry works a 1-out walk. Runner on first now for the Amherst Mammoths, as that is the second walk in as many innings for Pedeswa. Boyle grounded into that awkward fielder's choice where Fleischer made the smart decision to get Irizarry out at third. Popped foul. Sound of ball hitting pavement was heard, which is a welcome sign for anybody that is parked in the Gittleman lot. One and one. Boyle, just very solid 9-hitter for the Mammoth. They've stuck him there all season, and he's done good job. He's done a good job there. 270 average entering the weekend. The slugging percentage up from 2022 as well, where he also was a frequent player. Ball gets past Bowman a little bit, but he's able to recover in time to prevent Irizarry from advancing to second. Entering the series, Boyle had 5 hits in the last 2 games that they played. The last game against Middlebury and the other non-conference matchup that they played earlier in the week. 2 balls, 1 strike. Pedeswa, runner goes, and the hit and run was on. Fleischer will make the play to first as Irizarry advances to second. So good execution by the Amherst 9-hitter to get a runner in scoring position with 2 gone. And now another opportunity for an RBI for Jack San Pedro. Drove in the lone Amherst run back in the 3rd inning. Irizarry not held on by Fleischer nor McCullough as that first pitch was taken for a strike. And they will check him. A nice move by Fleischer, and they got him. Irizarry was not expecting it. The inside move by the Jumbo shortstop will end yet another inning for Amherst on the base paths. San Pedro loses that RBI opportunity. He'll lead off the next inning. Jumbo still leading 4-1. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Gittleman Park. We're halfway through this decisive Game 3. Ben Leonard leading off here for the Jumbos as he hits a fly ball deep to right field, and that ball is long gone over the Brown Monster. A first pitch dong for Ben Leonard as the Jumbos will score for their 4th straight inning. It is 5-1 Tufts. Leonard's 4th home run of the year, as again, this is a batter that was struggling over the last couple of weeks entering playoff and has really turned it up over these last 2 games. Davidson takes ball 1. The right fielder, Raydell, barely had a reaction to that ball being hit, as already positioned deep into right field, knew that ball had a lot of room over the fence. Davidson takes a breaking ball for strike 2. We'll check with our analytics expert, Sam Brill, on the exit velocity, as that ball is rocketed into left field for the second hit of the inning. Davidson will reach base for the first time this weekend, as the Jumbos now have a runner on with nobody out. It's a really interesting situation because although we were referring to this curse of scoring first, in both the games where Amherst or Tufts scored to start things off, it was a situation where they put all of their runs into one inning, whether it was a 3-run shot from Flavin or the 6-run first for Amherst. Tufts has played this game very differently, as they have continued to put the scoring on. A pinch runner brought in for the Jumbos, as that might be it for Connor Davidson. Did his job, got a single, and the Jumbos, of course, have other bats in the lineup if needed. It'll be Malcolm Whitfield. Has a number of roles on this Jumbo team. Backup catcher is currently was, at least before being inserted into the game, responsible for warming up Padezwa before Bowman had his equipment on and was ready, and is very fast. Had a stolen base yesterday. And that hits Solomon on the elbow as the runners will advance. A hit by pitch will mean the first three runners, or first 3 batters, I should say, for the Jumbos have reached base safely. And this is not what you would want to see out of Tristan Kim, who has been a pitcher that has been capable of giving the Mammoths length throughout the season. And I believe you would have expected, if you were Amherst, to work through Kim for a strong portion of this game. And you can see right now having to talk over game plan and strategy with the Mammoths, pitching coach. Not sure if this means much at all, but we just did see Todd Stawicki run from the dugout into the batting cage. You potentially could see him later on in this game, as I would not expect Whitfield to remain back in the lineup as a hitter once the order rotates back around. Stawicki, the lefty, has not gotten an opportunity. It was due at bat or on deck as game 2 ended. Fleischer takes a strike. Ozzie Fleischer gave the Jumbos the lead off of an RBI single in the second. Whitfield at second. Solomon at first. The pitch is swung on and laced into left center field. It's going to be a tough play in the gap, and it's going to fall for a base hit. 1 run scores. Solomon is rounding third. Going to be a play at the plate. The throw is not in time. It's a 2-run double for Fleischer. He picks up his 3rd RBI of the day. The Jumbo bats have come to life top to bottom, and they have broken this game wide open, leading 7-1. And a great piece of hitting from Solomon as he shows a little pop that we don't often see from the righty bat. And again, just another instance of the ball being placed in a great situation right between Dove and Boyle. And here comes the coaching staff for Amherst, and I think Kim will have his Game 3 appearance cut a bit short. Again, big ups to these Amherst pitchers who are both in their first year have seen really good stuff from them throughout the season. But for Kim, unfortunately, things not necessarily going his way. Responsible for Fleischer standing on second base. 5 runs earned in 1 2/3 innings. There's a new arm in warming up for Amherst, the freshman Christian Pedro out of West Hartford, Connecticut. He'll face Flavin after this. Welcome back to JumboCast coverage of the NESCAC quarterfinals. The third freshman pitcher for Amherst has entered game 3. They went Nevels to Kim, and now to number 26, Christian Pedro. This is Pedro's 16th game, 20 innings pitched, 15 strikeouts, as that pitch is lined right back to Pedro. They do not make the play back at second as Fleischer tried to get back. Flavin showed bunt there with a runner on second, and unfortunately popped that right back to Pedro. And very good base running from Ozzie Fleischer, who was expecting to be ready to run as soon as that bunt was laid down, but read the ball nicely off the bat and was able to get back in time to make sure there's only 1 out here in this inning. So an L1, I guess, is what we could score that. Jumbo bats coming up for the 4th time here in the 5th inning. Fleckner looks at a ball. 1 for 2, had that big single in the 4th inning and also walked and scored a run in the 3rd. Fleischer leads off of second base. Pedro deals low for ball 2. Pedro, I apologize. We appreciate the Amherst fans around us to make sure that we're getting the pronunciations correct. Fleckner sends a fly ball into deep center field. Going back is Boyle at the track. He makes the play. Tagging is Fleischer. He will advance to third as a big fly ball from Henry Fleckner will result in an out. A nice read by Boyle to make sure that that catch was made. Another jumbo run is 90 feet away as Jesse McCullough comes to the plate. 0 for 2 with the walk. Pitch in the dirt, nice block by Fagnon to keep Fleischer there. And it's not like Amherst has resorted to their first-year pitchers by means of necessity. I mean, when you look at the stats that Amherst has put up on the bump, apart from Giacchino and Rubitsky, a majority of their relievers and long pitchers are first years. That is, of course, with Kim, Nevels, Narainen, who pitched yesterday, and now Pedro. Strike one. Fleischer with a big lead off of third as that pitch is waved at and missed. McCullough knew it was a ball but could not stop his swing. As a good breaking ball from Pedro will send the Jumbos to their last strike of the inning. Line drive, base hit into right field. Fleischer scores. McCullough with an RBI as the Jumbo offense continues to roll. Their fourth run of the inning as this game has now become an 8-1 contest. So, just taking a look at what the Jumbo offense has been able to do here in this inning. Runner goes. McCullough will reach there safely. A home run, a single, a hit by pitch, a double, and a single. That is 4 hits and 5 base runners here, 4 of which have come home to score. Evans is 1 for 2, had a big RBI double last inning. Oh, and 2. The freshman Pedro trying to escape this bottom of the 5th inning without any further damage being done. The pitch in the dirt. It is a Christian to Christian battery here for Amherst. Fagnan catching Pedro here in the 5th. McCullough leads off of second. Here's the 1-2. It's down again as the count goes even. Bowman is on deck, has the shin guards on with 2 outs. The pitch is lined the opposite way and going to fall for a base hit. That ball will go to the corner as McCullough will easily score. Another RBI double for Jimmy Evans as he strikes a pose on second base. It's 9-1 Jumbos. Incredible hitting 1 through 9 for the Tufts University Jumbos. They pick up their 5th hit in 8 batters. And now the Mammoths will have faced every batter in the Jumbo lineup with Bowman coming to the plate. Pedro deals outside for ball 1. A very welcome sign for this Tufts offense who, despite being 11-1 in NESCAC play and having a very dominant record throughout, had struggled mightily, especially in these last couple of weeks with the bats. Statistically speaking, entering the series, Tufts had the lowest batting average and I believe the lowest on base and slugging as well in the entire NESCAC. It was largely their pitching staff and their ability to win close games that got them this advantageous record. But we've seen 12 runs in Game 1 and already 9 here in Game 3 as we're just barely over halfway complete. Would be a welcome sign for Tufts, who currently sits in that top 25 in the country, if they can continue this hot streak into NESCAC tournament play and potentially into NCAA. Here's the 2-1. Outside, ball 3. Pedro deals the 3-1, swung on and missed, and the count goes full. Bowman has a strikeout and a ground out today. High fly ball, right field. And the play will be made and will end the inning. Raydell will finally end the 5th frame for Amherst, but they give up 5 jumbo runs. It is 9-1 Tufts as we enter the 6th frame. If you are a Tufts student watching and are interested in sports broadcasting and watching Tufts athletics, JumboCast is currently actively recruiting for the upcoming 2023-24 school year. You can send us a message on our Instagram page at Tufts JumboCast if you have any interest, and we'll be at the club fair once things start back up in September. We'll be right back. Connor Pedeswa on the mound for his 6th inning of work after this. Welcome back to JumboCast's presentation of NESCAC baseball. Jumbos of Tufts University are in line to close out this series against Amherst as long as they can hold their 8-run lead. It's the top of Amherst's lineup, and again, you can never count the Mammoths out. They have, I would argue, the best offense historically this season in the entire conference. Now, we've seen comebacks in both games, but none as large as the deficit that Amherst now faced. That ball is drilled deep into left field and gone for a home run. A welcome sign for Amherst as they double their run count off of a solo shot from Jack San Pedro. It's 9-2. That ball was absolutely crushed over the left field fence. And in a similar situation to Raydell in right, off of a jumbo home run, Ben Leonard kind of just watched that one go. Perhaps this could spark plug this Mammoth offense. Here's McDermott. 0-2. Pedeswa still really keen on that pitch count, continuing to average just over around 10 per inning. Count, I believe, standing at 59 as that ball is grounded foul. Now, we see some action currently in the jumbo bullpen. Among others, Brendan McFall and Cameron Mayer warming up. The 1-2. Grounded right back to Pedeswa, who takes a nice jog over to Flavin, his brother in name, to record the first out. With the lead still at 7, Coach Vagdis would likely like to keep his starting pitcher in for as long as he has the ability to continue to perform. And considering his pitch count is low at this point, you could argue that if he keeps up this pace, that could be a while. McIntyre is at a 1-1 count. Ryan McIntyre also, alongside San Pedro, eclipsed the 400 mark in batting average after yesterday's 2 contests. Foul tip, 2-2. McIntyre reached base 4 straight times in game 2. Also had a hit in game number 1, so continuing to feel it in the box. The full count pitch is grounded down the left field line. A nice play by Solomon, who makes the grab, and the scoop from Flavin records the second out. A great play by Pat Solomon. That was a very hard hit ground ball down the third base line. A nice backhand scoop and a strong throw and a even better scoop from the first baseman, Flavin. There's 2 away. Hard fly ball, straight to Leonard's glove. Not enough launch angle to send that one out, but Amherst did so on their first at-bat of the inning. Jack San Pedro goes yard to cut the deficit to 9-2 in favor of the Jumbos. We'll be back with the bottom of the 6th. Welcome back to JumboCast coverage of the NESCAC quarterfinals. You hear some Rihanna playing, which means that Ben Leonard is up to bat to lead off the inning. Christian Pedro remains on the bump after ending the last frame. Ball 1 upstairs. Leonard, of course, the one who started the scoring in the 5th inning with a long home run to right field. 2-0. Here's the 2-0. Upstairs. Seems almost as if Leonard was given a red light off of that pitch, wanting to make sure that they're not swinging at anything out of the zone. There's a strike. As it was in game number, the 5th inning, it'll be Leonard, Davidson, and Solomon due at bat. Check swing and a foul tip. Hard to see from our angle the left to right depth, but I would assume that that ball was not originally a strike. And a walk for Leonard. Next up is, I apologize, the designated hitter spot, which is now occupied by Malcolm Whitfield, who entered for Davidson off of his single. Malcolm Whitfield getting a good opportunity with an at-bat in NESCAC tournament play. And he will get hit on the arm on the first pitch. So Whitfield's on the base paths for the second time today, although maybe not the happiest time running over to first. Now, base runner on, as it's Leonard on second, Whitfield on first. Once again, another part of the jumbo lineup where there are speedsters galore top to bottom. We'll see if any stealing opportunities in play. And here, as we say that, Solomon shows bunt, but the ball gets past Fagnon as he was prepared for a throw to second base. Both runners advance despite the bunt not being laid down. And that is not what you want to see as a Mammoth fan. It's always the delicate balance of being prepared for a throw and making sure that you get that ball into your glove as a catcher. And the additional pressure of having Ben Leonard and Malcolm Whitfield on the base paths would add to that opportunity. I mean, this is a Jumbo's team where when the bats don't go, their way of scoring runs is by playing small ball with a lot of the fast base runners that they have. Inside strike will bring the count to 2-1. Winner of this best of three moves on to Waterville, Maine, Colby's home field, where they will participate in the NESCAC semifinals and finals potentially if they end up reaching. Here's a 3-1. Swung on and popped up in foul territory. Now, unless I am mistaken with how the format of this weekend would go, as Solomon hits a fly ball into right field. Runners will tag. Rydell makes the play. They will not end up sending Leonard, as it was a very shallow ball hit to right field. So one out recorded here in the bottom of the sixth. No, I don't believe, actually, it will be a situation where the winner plays against, like, a set seed in the NESCAC Finals weekend. Of course, with only 2 days to crown one winner in, a game of baseball that typically requires best of threes, best of five series even to be played, it's not a traditional single elimination bracket format. I believe 7 games in total could be played, as last year Middlebury came from behind to beat Hamilton in Game 7 of NESCAC Championship weekend. So check in with the pitching staff, and it looks like Pedro will have his day come to a close after getting that out here in the 6th inning. Taking a quick look around the NESCAC as we are preparing ourselves for championship weekend next week for the winner of this contest. Wesleyan is currently playing up against Bowdoin in that 3-game set. That is the only other series that went all the way to 3. Colby defeated Hamilton and in 2-0 fashion, and Middlebury, as we mentioned earlier, defeating Trinity. So one representative from the west, one representative from the east so far, and we'll see what happens pending the results of this game. And this is a situation that we may have seen coming for the entirety of this series. Amherst has now, I believe, elected to forfeit their designated hitter spot and put their player originally in that spot, Jack San Pedro, on the bump. Despite, of course, being one of the best hitters, this is a situation similar to what we see in the Los Angeles Angels with Shohei Ohtani, where San Pedro is one of the best hitters on the team and also has been one of the relievers that they turn to in high leverage situations. Has a 4.5 ERA and 14 innings pitched, which of course are pedestrian numbers at first glance, but you take a look at some of the advanced statistics here for San Pedro. 21 strikeouts in 14 innings. That is 1.5 average per inning pitched, as well as a 161 batting average against. So when you take a look at some of the more advanced statistics that we have available to us, San Pedro, a great option here for the Mammoths. With that being said, with it being the 6th inning, you would expect Amherst to be a little bit hesitant with putting San Pedro in, who, of course, is a relief pitcher and has not had as many opportunities of, multiple innings pitched. And because of that, it creates an interesting situation where you have your best hitter on the mound, and if you want to take him out there, it would result in that going down. A bunt has been shown. They're going to make the play at home, and he is out. The safety squeeze was put on as Ozzie Fleischer laid a nice one down. But San Pedro showing his work available on the defensive end as well, making a nice play and firing it back to Fagnan, who made the tag. Take a look at that replay there. It was a close play at the plate, a good slide for Leonard, but that ball was placed perfectly into the glove of Fagnan. So the official ruling would be fielder's choice with, of course, 1-2. Runners now on the corners as Whitfield was able to advance to third. Flavin takes strike 1. Runner goes. Swing. Ground ball through for a base hit. Fleischer around second. He's headed for third. The throw is cut off as Whitfield scores easily from third base. Connor Flavin strikes again from the bottom of the jumbo order with an RBI single. It is 10-2. And with the positioning of the infielders in a different situation, that could have been the third out. It was not a hard hit ground ball, but just right between Irizarry and McIntyre to make sure that that ball was not able to be fielded cleanly. Here's Fleckner, takes strike 1. And runner goes. They're trying to get Flavin in a rundown to allow Fleischer to try and go home. They make the throw to the plate, and now Fleischer is caught in a rundown as well. And Fleischer, with the speed, will unfortunately not be able to be tagged out. An interesting play started up by Coach Fagdis, sending Flavin but not all the way with the intention of having him get caught into a rundown. Unfortunately, good awareness from the Amherst defense allowed for them to make the play home once Fleischer was too far gone, and they make the play on the third base runner to record the last out of the inning. Flavin, though, did do more damage here on this jumbo offensive side. An RBI single sends the lead back up to 8. Connor Pedeswa's out for the top of the 7th. We'll be right back after this. We've played 6 here at Gittleman. The Jumbos have responded to a scoreless first inning by putting up a run at least in more in certain other situations in their last 5 times at the plate. Score now in Game 3 of the NESCAC quarterfinals, 10-2 in favor of the Jumbos. Amherst is running out of outs. They have 9 more to play with to make up 8 runs. It'll be 5, 6, 7 for Amherst. Dove drills that one, but pulls it foul. Jack Dove is 0 for 2. Nobody actively throwing in the Jumbo bullpen at the moment. Pedeswa has the ball for what could be, again, an extended period of time. The 1-2. Swing and a miss on the breaking ball. Dove down on strikes. One away. Jackson Rydell, 0 for 2 as well, flew to left field his last time up and takes a half-hearted wave and a miss on a pitch that was in the dirt. Pedeswa issues ball 1. And that pitch was called a ball right on the inside corner. Bowman holding his glove up for an extended period of time to try and appeal the play. Here's the 2-1. 3-1 now. Three one. 3-2. The Mammoths have made the decision to pinch hit for Fagnan with the freshman Ben Smith on deck. And he will be able to work with a runner on as Rydell works a walk. Smith started game 2, and while Fagnan is normally the traditional starter for most of Amherst's games, Smith has gotten some good run and has performed admirably in the time that he has been given. Smith, while not recording a hit, reached base twice in 5 plate appearances yesterday. Rydell on first base as Smith takes a breaking ball inside for strike 1. High fly ball, left field. Leonard chasing it down. It's going to be into foul territory, but out of play. Entering yesterday's contest, Ben Smith, the 728 OPS, a very respectable mark for a freshman in for a backup catcher. 0-2 from Pedeswa, and that pitch is grounded foul. Smith keeping himself alive. In the dirt. Rydell was thinking about going, but again, Bowman just exceptional behind the plate on the defensive end. Able to block it, basically anything that comes his way. Here's the 1-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. And Smith, who came in to pinch hit, goes down on strikes, and there's now 2 away. A very difficult situation to be placed in. Of course, you're sitting on the bench for the big start of the game and then asked to put on a helmet and go out there. 2 outs now to Javier Irizarry. Has reached base safely in both of his 2 times up to the plate. A double and a walk. Here's the 0-1. Pedeswa working these counts a little bit harder than what he was tasked with doing earlier on in this game. Pitch count now up to 87 as he tries to escape this 7th inning unscathed. The 2-1. Irizarry grounds it foul. Count goes to 2-2. Now, this could be a situation where Coach Svagdis would be comfortable sending in somebody like Brendan McFall for the 8th and the 9th. However, the lead is still 8, and Pedeswa still can deal some more. Here's the 2-2. Outside, and the count goes full. We'll see what the decision-making process is. Although it is a 8-run lead, it's against one of the best offensives in the entire conference, and wanting to make sure that you never take anything for granted. Runner goes, and that pitch is waved at and missed. The check swing did not hold up enough, as Irizarry will go down on strikes. Another strong inning for Connor Pedeswa as he strikes out the side with a walk in between. It's time to stretch here in Gittleman as we enter the bottom of the 7th inning. We'll be right back after this. We've played 6.5 innings here in game number 3. Once again, Andrew Howe alongside you for this broadcast. I would like to thank everybody who tunes in and has been tuning in for this weekend for all of our games, and in addition to that, just Jumbo Baseball as a whole. Fleckner leads this inning off and grounds one up the middle for a base hit. as Fleckner will continue his good series today. 2 for 4 with a walk here in game number 3. I'd also like to extend some well wishes out to our colleague and peer, technical director of JumboCast, Jordan Burke, who was intended to be with us here for this game. Unfortunately, had a couple of things that have put him away from this situation, but know that he's one of Tufts baseball's biggest fans and would have loved more than anything to be here, and will be around for hopefully some of the NCAA softball games if the softball team does get hosting privileges over these next couple of weeks. Runner goes. Pitch is called a strike. The throw is not, maybe was in time, but unfortunately the catch was not made by McDermott, which means that Fleckner will be able to reach with another stolen base. It was not the best jump that Fleckner's ever had this year, and almost was punished for it as the newly placed Smith made a good play and a good throw across the diamond. 0-2. McCullough pops it up out of play. And that ball was perhaps a foot away from hitting a car. I don't know if you can hear at the moment, but there is a car alarm currently going off. Looks like they stopped play for a second, but we'll continue here as McCullough skies one high, but shallow into the first baseman's glove, Padia, for out number 1. A nice read by Padia in there on the infield fly. Fleckner remains at second base, and there's one gone for Jimmy Evans. Evans has reached base safely 3 straight times in his last 3 plate appearances, a walk and 2 RBI doubles. San Pedro on the mound really putting together a valuable outing for his team. Is responsible for both runs being scored by the Mammoths, and now has the responsibility of pitching to these jumbo bats, which have really turned it on this weekend. Ball low, 1-1. Now, if San Pedro is eventually taken out of the game, then things get maybe a little funky with double switches and keeping other pitchers out of the lineup. Or perhaps moving San Pedro to another infield or outfield position just to maintain his bat in the order, which has been pivotal throughout this series. The lefty Evans faces a 2-1 count with 1 away. And the pitch. Swung on hard, but foul down the right field line. 2-2. Here's a 2-2. Hit high in the air to right center field, into the gap, and that ball is going to be off the wall and misplayed by Boyle. 1 run scores as Fleckner will reach. Evans is stretching to third, and he gets there in time. What a day for the jumbo power hitter. 3 RBIs off of 2 doubles, and now a triple. It's 11-2. Evans has seen the ball exceptionally today. And for people that keep track of slugging percentage, OPS, and those things like that, you're likely to see those numbers spike a bit for Evans after today. Had a 943 OPS in 2022. A little bit lower entering this series, although we might see it get closer to that margin. Again, after a 3-hit, 4 with a walk opportunity and performance so far today. Here's Bowman. High fly ball center field. Boyle makes the play, tagging is Evans. The throw is cut off to the shortstop. That's a sacrifice fly for Bowman as he does another job for the Jumbos. The lead is now 10 as the Jumbos now lead 12-2. Offense firing on all cylinders for your Tufts Jumbos. Here's Leonard. Ben Leonard has reached base safely in all 4 of his plate appearances. He's 1 for 1 with a home run. And also was hit by a pitch and has walked twice. Ben Leonard was 1 for his last 18 entering the weekend and has turned it around to a big degree. 0-2 is the count as he fouls one off into left field. Ben Leonard, no stranger to big moments in NESCAC tournament play, had a home run in their quarterfinal series against Middlebury last year. That pitch right on the outside corner, umpire does not call it. The 1-2. Popped foul, out of play, although Irizarry gave it a run. One ball, 2 strikes, 2 away. Ben Leonard will swing and miss for strike 3. Jack San Pedro strikes out Leonard to end the frame, but allows 2 runs to come in once more. We will take a break after that RBI triple from Evans and the sacrifice fly from Bowman. Connor Pedeswa remains on the mound for the 8th inning. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We're here for the top of the 8th inning as Connor Pedeswa, who has put up a brilliant performance in what quite possibly is one of the biggest starts of his young collegiate career. 90 pitches through 7 innings, 3 hits off of just allowing 2 runs. And when you take a look at a little bit further into what Pedeswa's been able to do, a lot of his skill set really exemplified here today, the ability to induce weak contact. Boyle takes one inside. Six strikeouts for Pedeswa, 11 groundouts, and only 3 balls hit in the air recorded for outs. So you could argue that Pedezwa not even getting lucky with balls that are hit hard but directly to a jumbo outfielder. The 3-0 is inside as Boyle works the leadoff walk. Now we have to consider Coach Fagdis' decision-making process as we are now deep into this game, but the Jumbos hold a 10-run lead. You can see him currently walking out of the dugout, maybe to take a look towards the bullpen. Connor Kinney, who started this game, who started game number 1, is walking out to the bullpen. And Coach Fagdis is going to, I believe, come out and have a chat, if not end Pedezwa's outing for the day. And it looks like it's just a check-in. Perhaps to buy a little bit more time for some more jumbo relievers, as Pedezwa will remain in the game and have the responsibility of at least facing the next couple of batters. Brendan McFall actively throwing in the jumbo bullpen. And now with a runner on, Amherst has a good opportunity to strike as they have the top of their lineup up. San Pedro takes a breaking ball inside for strike 1. Homered in his last at-bat and now is the pitcher as well. McFall has struggled when tasked with finishing more than 2 innings of work this season, but with only 6 outs, should be an okay task as San Pedro laces one into left center field gap for a base hit. Fleckner retrieves it cleanly. San Pedro is going for second. The throw not in time. Boyle advances to third as Jack San Pedro continues his exceptional weekend at the plate. It's a double, and now the Jumbos are facing a second and third situation with no batters out. Jack McDermott now with a good opportunity. Of course, can never say never, especially in the game of baseball, and especially here in this series where comebacks have happened in both games played so far. McDermott takes the ball low. 0 for 3 on the day, which is not typical here for the second baseman, hitting .370 entering this weekend. Ball in the dirt. Boyle is one of the fastest players on this Amherst team. Entered the weekend with 14 stolen bases and was not caught. Pedezwa sets and fires, and that pitch is grounded to second. McCullough with a strong throw to first will get the out, but a run does come home as Boyle scores and San Pedro advances to third. A job done, but of course, sacrificing outs for runs is something the Jumbos are okay with their lead now being 9. So more work to be done for Amherst as Ryan McIntyre steps into the box. It was a hard hit ball by McDermott, but good positioning here by the Jumbo coaching staff to make sure McCullough was in the right place. A good block by Bowman, but the count rising up to 2-0. Pedezwa's pitch count now at 102. You have to wonder when Fagdis will pull the trigger to send McFall into the game. Swung on, right to McCullough. An unfortunate situation. It's been that kind of day for the Amherst Bats. There's 2 outs. McIntyre has seen the ball well for the duration of this series, but now in Game 3 is 0 for 4. Here's Padian trying to get some more back for Amherst. With the lefty up, they have shifted Solomon significantly off the bag at third base, which means that San Pedro can take a substantial secondary lead and if any pass ball does come out from Bowman, it will be another run scored. The 2-0. At the knees for a strike. Padian swings and drives that one down the right field line and foul. Padian had an RBI in game 1, has been a bit quieter since then. 0 for 2 with a walk today. Pedezwa deals. High fly ball center field. It is a routine play for Fleckner as he collects the last out of the 8th inning. And Connor Pedezwa allows 4 hits and 3 runs as he receives a nice applause from the Jumbo bench as he exits this game. Some congratulatory handshakes from his teammates as that signals that would likely be the end of Pedezwa's outing. But what an exceptional performance he had, limiting the base runners and, more importantly, limiting those Amherst runs. The Jumbos will get a chance to tack on some more. We'll be right back with the bottom of the 8th after this. Jackson Pedro has worked through 1 2/3 innings as he has swapped from the designated hitter to that pitcher. Will be responsible for facing Whitfield, followed by Solomon and then Fleischer for the Jumbo half of the 8th inning. The Jumbo bats really coming to life in this winner go home best of 3rd game of the NESCAC quarterfinals. Whitfield was hit by a pitch his first time up. Entered the game for Davidson as a pinch runner back in the 5th. Foul ball. And that was, for Amherst, a good opportunity for them to put up some runs as Whitfield goes down on strikes. They led off with the top of their order, and unfortunately, we're only able to pick up 1. Off of the ground out RBI from McDermott. They'll have Dove, Raydell, and now Smith due up in the 9th. It is likely Brendan McFall taking the mound for the final inning of play, at least in regulation. Solomon flew out to right field his last time up and swings at strike 2. Here's the pitch outside. San Pedro has this unique half sidearm approach and delivery. perhaps a different look from what the Jumbos have seen so far this weekend. Here's the 2-2 in the inside corner, just inside. And the count goes full. Here's the pitch, swung on, popped up to second base. McDermott makes the play, 2 away. So since that Evans triple, San Pedro has retired his last 4 batters, all on soft fly balls or, of course, that pop-up that we just saw there, in addition to 2 strikeouts. Fleischer takes ball 2. Ozzie laid down a bunt and unfortunately was not able to get a run home as they made the play at first, or sorry, at the plate, and gets hit by that one right on the shins, which is never the best spot to get hit by a pitch. So another base runner here for the Jumbos, who have scored in each of their last 6 innings. Here's Flavin, who had a single, which resulted in an RBI his last time up in the 6th. And another hit by pitch as San Pedro struggling to find the zone. I feel like we've seen a solid amount of hit by pitches today, a little bit more than you may have expected. I think that was the 4th and 5th. Of course, always something that can be a risk, especially considering the umpires have preferred calling strikes on the inside part of the plate in comparison to the outside. So probably the game plan to attack the inside part of the zone. First and second for Fleckner, who is up for the 6th time today. Here's the pitch. 1-1. Bowdoin has taken the lead over Wesleyan in our other Game 3 matchup here in the NESCAC. One ball, one strike. San Pedro deals, and Fleckner waves it half-heartedly and will take strike 2. The 1-2 popped up and out of play. Fleischer on second, Flavin on first in this 12-3 ball game. Jack San Pedro sets and deals. Inside. You can hear some notable frustration from some of the Amherst coaching staff who have not been happy with the umpiring this weekend. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 away, and that pitch is popped up again in foul territory. A tall task awaits the Amherst Mammoths in the 9th inning. The 2-2 is downstairs. The most runs scored by Amherst in an inning this week was 6, when that came at the first inning of the entire best of 3 between these two teams. It's a full count. The runners would go upon this pitch. And Fleckner will stay alive with a foul ball. Runners were sent back to first and second. Will go upon this pitch once more. Here's the payoff. Foul tip into the glove of Smith. Fleckner is ruling that it hit the ground before being into the glove of the catcher, and I believe that was what actually happened. Coach Fag just having a bit of a chat. Amherst defense has already left the field, as the umpiring crew will have a bit of a discussion. I would like to believe that I heard a notable thud on the ground before that ball, which was tipped off of the bat of Fleckner, entered the glove of Smith. And that's the call. It's been overturned. And now the coaching staff for Amherst is going to have a conversation. Can't catch a break, seemingly, as Amherst will be forced to deliver another pitch to Henry Fleckner. Now, I believe the right call was made. The foul tip did hit the ground, I believe, unless that thud that I heard was the sound of Smith's glove hitting the floor upon the catching of that ball. Of course, if the foul ball goes out of play and hits the ground, it is ruled a dead ball. Foul tip will only be coming a factor if it is caught on the fly by the catcher. And so that will be what the situation entails. Another 3-2 count with 2 away. Henry Fleckner looking to stay alive once more in what has been a very competitive at-bat. Swing and a miss. This time they got him for real. San Pedro issues the first scoreless inning from an Amherst pitcher since the first inning of this game. 9 runs is the deficit they face as they're here for the top of the 9th. It'll be Dove, Raydell, and Smith. And they will be facing the jumbo closer, Brendan McFall. No task too small for him, as he has 3 outs to send the Jumbos to NESCAC Championship weekend. We'll be right back. We're here for the top of the 9th, where the Jumbos issue a call to the bullpen. And here to break this down is special guest of the broadcast, Riley Daniel. Riley has been following, of course, alongside us the Tufts baseball season for the entire year. And Brendan McFall, a big graduate student, coming in for the chance to send the Jumbos to NESCAC Championship weekend.
Yeah, it's interesting, Andrew. Normally, in past years, when you'd hear Brendan McFall in a NESCAC playoff game, you'd think of him on the bump from the very beginning. But this year, really reinvented himself as a closer with that dominant fastball and a really great arsenal of off-speed pitches. But in the last couple of games, has blown a couple leads, mostly on the result of errors from his defense. And I think, if I had to guess in the mind of Coach Fagdis, this is probably a decision really just to help the confidence of Brendan McFall going into next weekend when they're going to need him to be sharp as always.
Yeah, definitely makes a lot of sense. Thank you very much, Riley, for that pitching scouting report. And I would like to definitely agree with some of the statements made there by, of course, Riley. As McFall, of course, entered Game 2 with a lead in the 7th inning with 2 outs, was tasked with trying to get 7 batters retired. And due to a couple of mistakes on the Jumbo defense, had that lead caught up and I believe was the pitcher of record on that Game 2 loss. Not only that, but there's no task, of course, a do-or-die situation as Dove sends one into center field. Fleckner makes the play for the first out of the 9th. You never want to be, you can never be too careful, I should say, in playoff games which have really large implications on the rest of the season. Making sure that you secure this win, albeit the lead being at 9 runs already, is certainly important. And, of course, McFall is somebody who can give you multiple outings in a single weekend. 1 down here in the 9th. Ground ball up the middle. That's going to be a base hit for Rydell. As Jackson Rydell will get Amherst going here in the 9th. The first step in what would be many in this monumental comeback if it were to happen. And Rydell will be taken out of the game. The senior, of course, playing what could be his last game as an Amherst Mammoth. A great career for Jackson Rydell. A 900 OPS, hitting .330 in 2022. Started off the year a little bit slower, but was really able to come around down the stretch for the Mammoths. And has what could be his last at-bat of his collegiate career end on a good note. Smith sends a high fly ball into left center field. Going out is Fleckner. He will make the catch on the run. The pinch runner, Highland Crump Jr., heads back to first base. There's 2 down. A nice piece of contact there by Smith in the gap between left and center, but had enough loft on it to make sure that Fleckner had enough time to get there. Javier Irizarry represents the last out for Amherst. Unless he's able to reach, of course. And that has been something that he's been able to do so far today. 1 for 2. Has a double and a walk. Crump leads off of first. They are not holding him on, and he's going to go. There's a strike as the senior will advance to second base off of defensive indifference. 1-2 is the count. Amherst down to their final strike. 2-2. Jack Boyle is on deck, would be followed by the top of the Amherst lineup. 2-2. And the count goes full. Brendan McFall, starter, turned reliever, here to close out the NESCAC quarterfinal. Here's the payoff. Fly ball into left center field. Going back is Leonard at the track, at the wall, and it's gone. A high, towering 2-run blast by Javier Irizarry, who keeps the Amherst Mammoth season alive. It's a 2-run shot, and the Mammoths now trail 12-5. A moonshot by the Amherst third baseman. With the launch angle that it had, would be easy to assume it could fall into the hands of a jumbo outfielder's glove, but it kept carrying all the way over the fence. Boyle takes ball 1. Again, this is an Amherst offense that ranks first in the NESCAC in multiple categories. And the bats coming alive here in the 9th. Boyle takes a strike. Center fielder is 0 for 2 with a walk and a fielder's choice. Fly ball into shallow left field. Going to be a tough play for Evans. He dives and can't make the play. Boyle reaches first safely. It's a single for the 9-hitter of Amherst, and the Mammoths are not going down without a fight. A tough play it would have been for Jimmy Evans, laying all out to try and end the game, and it gets just by him. And now, this is what you have to do if you're Amherst. Continue to put balls in play, put runners on, get to the top of the lineup, which has been the most successful throughout the year. San Pedro takes strike one. And takes strike two. The DH turned pitcher is 3 for 4. A triple away from the cycle. McFall deals. Foul ball. As Jack will stay alive here for another pitch. Boyle advanced to second off of another defensive indifferent situation. Brendan McFall trying to shut the door here before the Amherst rally gets out of hand. The 0-2. Popped up. It's going to be a tough play. Right over the fence it goes and towards the Amherst bleachers. Bowman running all the way to the backstop before being forced to stop. San Pedro keeping himself alive in a competitive at-bat. McFall with an 0-2 count as he's retired 2 batters here in the 9th. Here's the pitch. Did not go on the breaking ball. McDermott is on deck. The lefty with a good matchup against the righty McFall. Here's the 1-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Ball game over, and the Tufts Jumbos pull through in the NESCAC quarterfinal. They win 2-1 and score 12 in each of their victories. 12-5 here in Game 3, 12-6 in Game 1. And Brendan McFall comes out and ends the series and sends the Jumbos to NESCAC Championship weekend at Colby. Some good fight from this Amherst Mammoths team who were 500 in conference play entering today, or entering, of course, yesterday's slate of games. And this is a team that was competitive with Tufts all season, and in the three games that they played a couple of months ago, and were very competitive here as well at Gittleman. They had a good come-from-behind victory in Game 2 to keep their season alive, and unfortunately for them, it will be the end of their run here in 2023. While there are, of course, some notable seniors graduating from Amherst at the conclusion of this season, a large portion of their lineup will be in play for next year. And with some of the stuff that we've seen out of players like San Pedro, Padian, and McDermott and McIntyre, this is sure to be a frightening Amherst lineup for years to come. But for now, the victory goes to the Jumbos as they have clinched a top 4 spot in the NESCAC conference and will go up to Maine next weekend to try and earn their spot in the NCAA College World Series. The bats really came to life. A lot of people that deserve credit for this victory, and Jimmy Evans definitely one of them today. 3 for 4 with a walk, 2 doubles and a triple, and on top of that, Henry Fleckner also had a spectacular weekend, recording 2 hits and a walk today on top of the other incredible plays he was able to make on the defensive and offensive end. But with that, it will be the end of our time here at Saul Goodman Park for the 2023 season. It's been a pleasure to call these games on this newly minted ballpark, and we're sure to continue this as we go into 2024, and of course we'll continue to support the Jumbos as they make their way throughout the remainder of this 2023 season. This is not the end of our broadcasting run of the school year here for JumboCast, however, as pending the hosting rights being given out for the NCAA tournaments in both men's and women's lacrosse and softball. JumboCast will be here over the next couple of weekends to give you coverage of those games. And if you want to stay up to date with all of the action across all Tufts athletics, you can go to tuftsjumbocast.com or follow us on all of our social media platforms. But on behalf of our crew here working, Justin Locaire, Niles Lowe, and Riley Daniel, I've been Andrew Howe. It's been a pleasure to cover the Tufts baseball team throughout this year, and we'd like to thank you all for watching, and please stay home safely.
Let me show you something.